guys, it is Elisa here, or the Diamond Stitcher as I go by on YouTube and Instagram. Hi, welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're coming back. I really appreciate that you're taking time out of your day to check out my videos. Today we have a WIP and Chat. Now, I'm not quite sure when this is going up. It is Sunday, April 2nd that I'm filming this. I feel like I haven't filmed a WIP and Chat in quite a few weeks. Well, maybe not that long, a few weeks. Before this one goes up will be my kit up and chat where I kit up this kit from Munimade and my unboxing of the kit as well. I've been working on this one in the background. Once I finished Fairy Lights, I didn't want to start another huge painting because of my upcoming surgery, so I decided to kit up this one because I couldn't wait to diamond paint a Munimade diamond painting just to see how it is. It's the first one I've done of her diamond paintings, and I also just love the image, and I think the title of the artwork is called Hang in There. The artist is cute but weird, and I think it's a perfect image for what I'm about to go through. So I thought it would be a perfect kit to hopefully have done before my surgery. So I've got 2 days to finish it, which I think is totally manageable. This is very much a color blocking canvas. Color blocking means you're going to have bigger chunks of the same color. Now there's small areas of color blocking, but it's much better than confetti. It goes a lot faster. So I've been zooming through this kit. I haven't been super careful with my placement just because I am in a lot of pain, and every day has been really hard for the last little while. So I've just been doing it for relaxation and to distract myself from the pain, and I haven't been, super anal about my placement because I can straighten it out a little bit at the end. But anyway, enough of that. I am using a few different things in this WIP and Chat. I'm not even sure if the videos for these things will be out, but I'm trying out a new tray tower system, so I'm using these white trays. They're not the best. Like, I still prefer 3D printed trays. They just slide around easier 3D printed, but they still line up the diamonds nicely, as you can see. The nice thing about these ones is on the stopper here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It's numbered, so this one's numbered 1. The really cool thing is you can swap this out, and it has another number on the other side, so 25. So if you get this tray set, you could get 2 of them, and then you could kit up a diamond painting up to 48 colors just by switching around the stopper in one of the setups. So I think that's really cool. I'll probably try to get that unboxing up before this WIP and Chat again. Because I'm having surgery, everything is I've just been filming a lot of things and getting them ready to be posted in case during my recovery I'm not feeling very well. That way I still have content and I can still interact and talk with y'all in the comments and that. I also have a couple new pens. This one is from, I guess I need to turn on the lights, don't I? Make it a little easier for you. I'm sitting in the dark here. The nice thing about this kit is it's such bright colors that I don't even need the light pad on. I can see it without the light pad. It just makes it a tiny bit easier, so that's why I have it on. And I don't really need the overhead light. It is light outside, but I kind of have the blinds turned away from me so the glare's not coming in. I've been having awful headaches, and they happen on the left side of my head, and it affects my eyeball. So it's the worst. I feel like just popping my eyeball out and relieving that pressure that I feel. I probably should talk to the doctor about that. Make sure it's not actually like pressure in my eye that could affect my vision. Now this might not show up very well, but this is a Butterfly Effectwares pen, a new pen I got that I will have an unboxing up where you can see it better. But I have new putty in here that I'm trying. This putty is from Butterfly Effectwares as well. It's their dot putty, I believe they call it. And then this pen as well, it has its own unboxing, but it's from Bistro Blanks, and I put Crashly's putty called Ribbit Stick It in here just to see how it is. Now I've been using mostly this pen actually, my Mad Wood Turning pen, because it has this huge placer on it. It's a 10 or 11, I think it's an 11 placer, which has made some of this background go really fast. So I've been using this pen a lot, but there are areas here where I will try the new putty just to see how it goes. My all-time favorite putty is Randa's Crafty Corner. That's what's in this big placer here. Now, I've seen questions on my Facebook group from people wanting to kind of troubleshoot using putty. They say after a while it gets too sticky and it's not letting go of their diamonds. Once you've been diamond painting for a while, when you take a look at your placer, you're going to notice little indents along the whole thing. You need to smooth it over with your thumb or your finger like this, and if you have some putty that's over the sides, push that back up too and just flatten it out here. And I do that ever so often. Every time I find my diamonds are not picking up as nice as they should be, I just run my finger over it and it flattens it out there, and it'll work good as new. Another tip or another question was, when do you change your putty out? That depends. All putty is a bit different. I find some last longer than others. I could go through an entire diamond painting with usually the same putty. What I will do is, if this is too dirty on the outside and even flattening it isn't helping anymore, I take my tweezers and I scoop this putty out and then I flip it over. I'll show you that with my smaller one. And then I put it back in, because the putty that's touching the inside of your placer is not dirty at all. So you can actually get more use out of it by just flipping it around. And then you could also try to do it again and kind of maneuver the putty so the cleanest side is sticking up, because the putty on the sides, touching the sides of the placer, is also going to not be dirty. So it is quite usable. So you don't need to chuck out the putty when you scoop it out the first time. Try flipping it and seeing how long it lasts you that way. Again, all putty is a little bit different. It just depends how sticky they've made it. Some putty is more sticky than others. Some putty, the scents last quite a while. You know, that would probably mean they use more oil, more scented oil. And the more oil they use, the different consistency you'll find. So, troubleshooting making putty, I think, is pretty tricky. Now, I've never tried it, but I've heard from putty owners, you know, everything they add to it can totally change the consistency. So then they kind of got to add something else to reverse. Like if they use too much oil and it becomes too thin, they got to add something else to make it thicker again. And it's like a fine balance of finding what correct measurements of things to put in their putty that they're making. So what I'm using in this pen is from Miranda, so we'll use that for some of this, these areas. Now, as you can see, I use this 10 placer for placing small diamonds too. Like I'll just pick up 2 and put them down. I find a big placer like this is super versatile. You can do that. What you have to be careful of though is if you touch the empty part of your pen to the glue, the putty's gonna stick, especially if you've overfilled it. Now this is not overfilled. It's been in here a while. I probably need to flip it and change it soon, but not quite yet. So I'm very careful not to let this part of the placer touch the glue. If it does, your putty's gonna stick. And getting stuck putty off your canvas can be a little tricky. You use your tweezers and you kind of just pull it off as best as you can. I'm never able to get all of it off. Sorry if I'm talking kind of fast. My dad was listening to one of my videos. As my mom was watching it. She just got into diamond painting recently. Hi, Mom, if you're listening. And he said I talk too fast. So I need to be, I guess, more mindful of talking slower. I think the problem is I can't breathe. Part of the compression of my nerves involves the phrenic nerve, which is the nerve that controls breathing. And if that nerve is very irritated on any given day, my breathing can be a little bit more difficult. So I try to talk really fast so that I can take another breath before I'm gasping for air. So that's kind of why I need to try and be more cognizant, not talking too fast. Now, I probably could have filmed like 3 WIP and Chats by now with everything that's gone on since I filmed the last one. But I didn't, because I didn't have the energy to do it. But And now I'm trying to think back at what's all happened, and some of it I'm blanking on, but what are we at? We're at April 2nd. So I think like the last week of March, I had another assessment by a new doctor, not a doctor for me, a doctor for work safe. So for my injury, insurance company doctor, who basically, well, first off, he was an hour and a half late to the appointment. I had to be there at 8, and he did not show up until 9:30. I was in so much pain by then. I cannot sit for an hour and a half without my head supported. Otherwise, it gets extremely painful. I get awful spasms, and I'm just a mess. And that's exactly what happened. Thankfully, this appointment was at some sort of like neurofunction clinic. So they had like it looked like a massage table that they sat the back up for me so I could rest my head back. But that was after already sitting there for 45 minutes, very uncomfortable. And then to have to wait till this asshole doctor, excuse my language, arrive and, you know, make excuses was not a good start to that day. But, you know, looking back on that appointment, I was like in the twilight zone, I think. I was very much, I'm not going to say not paying attention, but you learn that there's no point explaining yourself. There's no point in talking because they're not going to listen to you anyway. They've already made up their mind about you and what they're going to suggest and how they disagree with your own doctors that you've been seeing. So I kind of just sat there, nodded my head, and smiled. I wasn't really processing what was happening in the appointment. It was an appointment to assess whether WorkSafe thinks I have a condition called chronic regional pain syndrome. It's an extremely painful syndrome that, you know, I don't want to have. But it's been pointed out by, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doctors I've seen, 6 specialists. These are not just doctors. They're not just family doctors. 6, actually, so 7, including my family doctor. 7 different medical practitioners have said I likely have a component of CRPS. But this guy's like, I don't know. Change your thinking. Things will be better. Do you think I haven't tried changing my thinking? Actually, if you talked to me like 3 years ago at the start of this injury to now, you will have seen how much my thinking has changed. Because, you know, pain, you need, part of living with chronic pain is dealing with the mental factor. It does take a toll on your mental health. And yes, you know, when you sit in negative thoughts all day, you are going to feel worse. But if you sit in positive thoughts, you will hopefully sometimes feel a little bit better. But changing your thinking doesn't miraculously cure disorders that require surgery that you have. Like that, I don't understand. So, you know, it was inconclusive in his mind whether I had this or not. He wasn't sure, but he thinks, you know, a behavioral program would be helpful. And that was just like a kick in the side. Like, I have surgery scheduled in 2 days where my artery is severely compressed, as well as the nerves on my dominant arm, and I'm having that surgically corrected. I have the best pain doctors probably in our province. Well, no, some of the best. There are others out there in Vancouver that are private pay that I can't afford. But the ones that I'm seeing technically 4 different pain clinics. They're all offering something a little bit different. So I'm seeing 4 different pain doctors. I've got resources up the yin yang. I have a pain counselor I've talked to now for well over a year, and I've had a different one. I've had 3, and this last one I really like, so I've stuck with her. But over the course of the 3 years, I've had 3 different counselors I've sought out. I had to find on my own because you think a workers' comp would help? No. They actually sent me to a pain counselor, but I was only allowed like something stupid like 6 sessions because that's all you should need. I can tell you that's very wrong. You should continue having a pain counselor as long as you have pain. So forever for me. not only do they teach you these great tools to cope with a severe pain crisis, for example, but it's also nice to talk to them and validate, you know, what you're experiencing is real. You have serious conditions that require surgical management. You know, it's hard sometimes not to think, is it just in my head? Like, am I just not pushing hard enough? Especially now that I'm going on 3 years and I've had 6 surgeries, or this will be my 6th, I think. And, you know, and you have workers' comp in your head saying you should be fixed by now, and I'm not. In some areas, I'm worse. So it's common to have that kind of voice in the back of your head kind of saying you're not doing good enough, you're not trying hard enough, you should be doing better, yada, 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 yada. So I highly recommend, if anybody does live with any chronic condition, especially a chronic pain condition, especially if you're married or, you know, living with family that you're having to interact with on a daily basis, counseling is very, very valuable. She's even taught me things to teach my husband so that it's easier for him to live with a wife with chronic pain. Now you can see here, well, I don't know if you can see, because sorry if my lighting's off, but the putty's starting to come down the side there. So all I do is just flip it up, and then I just flatten it out again over here, just so it starts picking up diamonds nicely again. I don't want that putty over the sides because it's just going to stick to my glue. Sometimes I remove the overhang as well if it's too much. Other times I just put it on top, and then I continue going. This is the putty from Crashly. So far I'm liking it. It's a nice firmness. I'm a hard presser, so firmer putty works better for me. The softer stuff doesn't work. It comes out of the sides too easily, too fast. This is a little bit, I'd say this is a medium. Comparing to the putty I usually use around as Crafty Corner, this is a medium firmness putty. I'm actually going to take some off the top. That might help. Always hard loading a pen with putty. Sorry if I'm jumping all over the place. That is kind of what my brain has been doing this past week. So I had to see this asshole doctor who commented, you know, all of the tests and procedures and surgeries my doctors are sending me for might not all be necessary. You know, they're not proven to work. Which I think is ridiculous because I've had all of the procedures suggested and they've all helped to some degree. So, needless to say, I left that appointment feeling very upset, kind of upset. At first, I was like numb. I was just like I said, I was just sitting there nodding my head. Then I left and drove home. Then when I got home, I started talking to my husband. And that's when I started to get very anxious, overwhelmed, and ended up in tears. And I came to a realization. I've kind of known it all along. I've kind of mentioned it from time to time, but that day it just really sunk in that I do deal now with medical PTSD, and specifically related to the treatment of workers' compensation, because my left arm is the arm of injury. I had to fight, I think it was about 1.5 years before I got in to see the correct doctor for the correct diagnosis, who then had to fast track surgery because that time my nerve damage was severe and they weren't sure if I would even get my motor function back. Had they listened to my other doctors and had they sent me for the correct treatment, had they not listened to their computer that said I should be cured after 6 weeks of my first surgery, and had they not continued to investigate, I may not be in the situation I am now. I may not have developed the permanent nerve damage that I've developed. There would have been more hope for me had my treatment not been delayed by them. So I know I've held on to kind of resentments and anger regarding them. I mean, it's been 3 years of hell, and only recently did I gain the confidence to finally stand up to them, to my case manager. I think I mentioned it in a WIP and Chat. For for the third time. She was closing my claim in December last year, and she didn't tell me until 2 weeks after she had closed it, and I was scrambling. And I told her, I don't understand why none of my specialists have cleared me for work. In fact, I'm waiting for potentially 2 more surgeries. She called me back, I think, in a day or two and said, okay, never mind. I'll leave it open till the new year and let's revisit it. So I was waiting for her to call to revisit it. And I finally got a call January 22nd this year saying, I closed your claim as of January 12th. And I wouldn't say I lost it. I didn't lose it, but I finally challenged her. I had the strength to, and the courage, I should say the courage, to stand up to her and say, that's not right. If you were closing my claim January 12th, I should have got a phone call at least a few days before that. Because that's not a decision you make just because you feel like it. It's a decision that they would have had team meetings about, where they sit down with whoever the heck is on their decision team. I should say unqualified people. It's a good description. Just thinking, you can't tell I'm bitter, can you? But in all seriousness, because of them, my life will never be the same. We only have one life. We only have one chance at this, and it's been taken from me by them. So yes, I am bitter and I am angry at them. I find it so funny that, a lot of people, I already dealt with anxiety and depression before my injury. The injury just made it like 100 times worse, but a lot of people didn't have those diagnoses before their injury and developed it because of WCB. So much so that they actually have like a rule, or whatever you call it, that you cannot claim anxiety or depression as caused by them because it's to be expected. Like how crappy is that? Like, I don't even know the right word that I'm looking for to describe how I feel about that. Like, that you cause trauma in patients, clients, and you're not going to take responsibility for that. Like, there are so many better ways that half of the stuff they do could be dealt with. Like, just because you're an insurance company and you're all about saving money doesn't mean you have to be an asshole about it, right? I envision, like I said before, if I worked there, I think I would still have a heart for the people on the other end of the phone. That's just who I am. But I don't know if you have to have a qualification that you just don't care in order to work there. I have no idea. But I just find it absolutely ridiculous that they actually have that in the rules because they know they cause severe medical trauma to clients. I just think it's so sad. As I'm talking here, I'm getting the nerve pain in my eye. It just takes my breath away. I'm having a really hard time holding my head up today too. And you can probably hear in my voice, it's quite growly. I don't know how to describe it. It gets like that when I'm bad, when my symptoms are bad. And I don't know, the last couple days since, when did I had another assessment actually this week. It just passed on Friday. That assessment wasn't so bad. It was another assessment for WorkSafe, but this time it was to determine, I always say, determine how much money I'm worth. They do a functional assessment to see how disabled I am, and then they will decide how much money I deserve to receive every month in due to the fact that I can't work right now because of my injuries. So I've seen that lady who did the test 3 times now, I think. She's a very nice lady. She's independent of them. All she does is take measurements and note down symptoms and objective and subjective and my story and what I can and can't do and all those kind of things. So then she will, I don't know if there's a formula or something, but she comes out with fancy numbers that are then used to calculate how much money I'm worth. That was on Friday. And then I spent the last couple of days ferociously, I don't know if that's the right word, kitting up multiple diamond paintings in preparation for surgery. I think most people prepare for surgery in other ways, like, I don't know, prepare the house, prepare freezer meals, prepare pet sitting, prepare kids, I don't know. My focus is to prepare my diamond paintings so I have something to do in recovery, which I think is quite funny. But back to the realization of the medical PTSD. I missed too. The medical PTSD, it's just, like, I always knew that, you know, they would make me anxious. After every appointment, I would be anxious, and I would usually end up crying to my husband, who would then, you know, comfort me, make me feel better, and then I'd be okay the next day. But this time I really noticed it, and I was present in my body, and I noticed, you know, my fight and flight system turning on. That system in your body is kind of like the danger system. It tells your body when there's danger, and you're either going to fight the danger or you're going to run from the danger. And that system is often triggered in anxiety or panic attacks and PTSD. You get the rapid heart rate. I feel warm all over, and I can feel like the blood rising in my face. It's the muscles pumping, getting ready to run from danger or fight danger. The body's kind of mobilizing resources, so and then the thoughts are spinning, and you know, I find that I'm like got all these ruminating thoughts, like I'm planning out, well, if option A happens, but option B, C, D, E, whatever happens, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to respond, this is what I'm going to say, and I'm just spiraling in all the possibilities. And I wasn't able to turn it off until I had a good cry, and my husband kind of helped redirect me. And I brought this up to the counselor that I saw on Thursday. I do online with her ever since the pandemic. And I brought all these symptoms up with her, and she's like, yeah, you very much have developed PTSD. And I thought, great, I can add this to the list, you know. Just another thing that I have to deal with. But when that happens, it's super distressing. If you deal with PTSD or panic attacks, ruminating thoughts, and you're comfortable sharing tips to dealing with them, let me know down below. My counselor gave me a few tips that I think will really help, all about stopping the thoughts and just reminding your body that you are safe, you're not in danger, it will be okay, and to not problem solve, but to just notice these thoughts and just let them be and accept them. I did try it, because when I had the assessment on Friday with this other doctor that's not directly related to WCB, but it's related to my injury and claim, I did start spiraling again. I wasn't nearly as bad, because she wasn't a doctor. Like, it's not the same as the other guy I saw, so the reaction wasn't as bad, but I was starting to start that what if train, I call it, where I'm going through all the possibilities, and we utilized some techniques that the counselor taught me, though it didn't go so well, because my husband, he just does not have the patience. He's got like the attention span of a squirrel. If I had to guess, a squirrel, I think that's a good description. But it did help. So if you deal with episodes like that of panic attacks or PTSD, especially PTSD, what do you do when you're in the moment, when it's alive, when it's like turned on? How do you deal with it? What are the strategies you use that you find really helpful? I'd love to hear it, because it's so exhausting. Now I have anticipatory. I've always had anticipatory anxiety. It's one of the main forms of anxiety I have, which means anxiety before something happens, like doctor's visits. I used to get really bad anticipatory anxiety and go over in my head what I was going to say, and, you know, if they said this, what I was going to respond with. That's not as bad anymore, except when it comes to WCB doctors or people I'm sent to from them. Because the people they send me to are never for my best interest. It's for their best interest, right? It's really hard filming today, actually. You hear me keep pausing. It's because the pain is just so bad. You know, I'm more worried. I'm not so much worried for my the surgery I'm going for is for my right arm. It's my dominant arm, the arm I'm diamond painting with. On that side, I developed compensation, or I developed compression from the fact that my right arm does like 98% of everything. Most of us utilize both arms when doing things like carrying, lifting, pushing, pulling. I've had to use my right arm 98% of the time for the past 3 years. So, and 100% of the time for probably 2 years out of that. About 3.5 years now, I think I've been dealing with this. I'm never good on my time frames. When was it? 19, 20, 22. 4 years. Why do I keep saying 3 years? It's been 4 years. We're going into, it was March, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Are we going on 5 years? Has it been 5 years? 18 to 19, 20, 21, 22. Wow, okay. We just hit our 5-year mark. Holy crap. I keep saying it's 3 years. It's 5 years. Holy shit. Oops, sorry. Excuse my language. Holy crap. Wow. I'm getting sidetracked here. As you can see, I picked up all these diamonds, and somebody asked me how to keep my edges straight. Usually I fill the edges in first. Just like if you were coloring, like when you were taught how to color as a kid, I fill the edges in straight so the outside is straight. As long as the outside is straight, the inside looks good. If your outside lines, like if I was to place it like this and these were all uneven, it just doesn't look good finished. So I find I go on the outside first, and then I continue fill again. Sorry, sidetrack, quick tip that I thought I'd mention. And now, of course, oh yeah, 5 years. I can't believe it's been 5 years. That explains a lot. As in, like, developing PTSD and how traumatic it's been. You can imagine how many doctors I've seen in those years. I have quite a few doctors in my phone. Now, some of them I don't see anymore, but I still have their phone numbers in case something comes up. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm not so much worried about my right arm. I'm actually more worried about my left arm. My left arm has had 4 surgeries on the left arm, and I think it's going to need another surgery. The surgeon and I talked about this before. My last surgery on the left arm was in June of last year, and he said, we're going to do this, but some people still don't get better, and they need another surgery, and the other surgery would likely be the last attempt at trying to fix things. And it would be a little more risky and more involved, and it would involve taking fat or muscle from somewhere else in my body and wrapping the nerves that exit the neck that go into the arm with it in hopes to prevent scar tissue from adhering directly to the nerves. If the scar tissue adheres to the nerve wrap, that's fine. I mean, it might cause some adhesions and pulling and stuff, but as long as it's not strangling the nerves, then the nerve pain should be at more minimum. I did have a friend who went through with that surgery, though she didn't have a great outcome. She suffered some complications. Her diaphragm was paralyzed, and like physically she was affected. Like she's very self-conscious. Her chest isn't normal anymore. There's a big indent, like concave shape, where muscle atrophy happened. Plus, her breathing has been so hard because the diaphragm is paralyzed. She also had some lung issues too, I believe, where she needed some puffers and stuff. So that kind of scares me about the thought of doing that procedure. But then there's also people who have done well, and that would be my last what's the word I'm looking for? Like the last straw, I think, would be that. Now, you would think Canada is a foreign country compared to the States for treatment of my injury, thoracic outlet syndrome, and everything that's developed because of it. In Canada, we're actually not as advanced as you guys are in the States. You guys have some very amazing doctors in various states. Like, up to 10, I think, are considered top doctors that have really good surgical outcomes. We don't actually have, it's not the same in Canada. We don't have the same access to the same procedures or the same doctors with the same qualifications, because in Canada, I guess maybe in the States it's still considered somewhat of a rare condition, but it's not really rare. It's just underdiagnosed. It's somewhat of a relatively new discovered condition. So there's not a lot known about it. The States has the most advanced treatment options for it. In fact, some Canadians do travel down there, but then we're looking at paying out of pocket like $100,000 for surgery. And here in Canada, we don't pay anything for surgery. The drawback is you wait like many years for surgery, and by the time you have surgery, you usually have permanent damage, and the surgery is not as helpful as it would have been if you had it when you needed it. So we've talked about me going to the States, but we do have one really good surgeon that is taking care of me now. I think he's the best in our province, maybe even in Canada. I think he's trained with or under or follows closely with some of the USA top doctors, so I feel very confident in his care. And when he did the operation I had in June, initially I actually healed quite well. I was shocked. People had warned me that the recovery would have been so hard and I would have been in so much pain, and I wouldn't be able to use my arm, and that was not my experience at all. My pain was controlled really well, I think because they gave me some sort of nerve block for my entire shoulder, so it worked really well. I'm hoping they give that to me this time too. And then I didn't lose function of my arm. Sometimes when you're working with the nerves, they can go into like a shock light state where they're not working. They're like frozen because they're in shock. And it takes them sometimes a few weeks to a couple months to fully wake up. I didn't experience that. I do still have areas of numbness that I don't think ever will go away now. And they are actually really painful to touch. Even the wind on them hurts. That's just from nerve damage. I don't think that will get better, but I was really happy with my recovery from that surgery up until like 6 months. Between, I think, 5 and 6 months, all my symptoms on my left arm started coming back, just like they did the last time. And now we're at about, what is it, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. We're at 10 months now, and my symptoms are, I'm going to say, worse now than they were before my last operation in June. The pain is intense. It's always an 8 to a 9 out of 10. Very rarely do I get it lower. The only way I can get it lower is if I do absolutely nothing and I don't even move. I have to have my arm propped up on pillows, to use a massage gun throughout the day. I have special cream that numbs the area. I got all sorts of stuff. And my pain still, for the last month, I'm going to say on that left side, has been a solid 8. And it just takes so much out of you. So I'm actually more concerned about that and how my left arm is going to do post-op than I'm concerned about my right arm. With the right arm, it wasn't injured. Because I used it for like 98 to 100% of everything for the last 5 years, it's developed a similar compression syndrome from overcompensating the muscles. The theory is the muscles have grown so big, we call it hypertrophied, because they're overused, that they are now strangling the nerves on the right side as well, exiting the neck and into the chest area, where the arms then go down into the arm. Let me switch out my pen. I'm going to try using this one now, which is the new Butterfly Effect Wears pen and their new putty. The right side, I get Botox every 2.5 to 3 months, and it really helps the right side. It doesn't really help the left side anymore, but it definitely helps the right side. So my pain over there isn't too bad. The pain comes from the compression, and the Botox helps relax those muscles so they're not compressing as much. So the pain on the right is not too bad as long as I don't overuse the arm. I can't do much at all. I live a very, my glue dot is too sticky here. I forgot I flipped it around. Forgot to dirty it up. I live a very solitary life, you know, propped up on pillows most of the time. The occasional dog walk, I've had to use the wheelchair for the last few months just because it's getting worse and worse. It's really debilitating, but I'm crossing my fingers. The surgery on Tuesday will go as planned. There will be no complications and I will recover fairly quickly. I'm, like I've said multiple times already today, I'm so worried about the left side. I don't know how it's going to react. I'm not going to be able to use my right side for much for at least the first 2 to 3 weeks. When you have a surgery involving the nerves, you really want to give the nerves a chance to heal before you use them. If you use them too early, for more than just like range of motion stuff, like if you do your basic ADLs, which is like bathing, dressing, cooking, cleaning, etc., those nerves can become very irritated and then they can develop scar tissue, which, as you can see, this putty is really sticking to the glue. I don't have it overfilled. Let me try taking a little bit off. See, the problem is if you don't have enough putty, then the diamonds won't be picked up at all. Let's see. The Crashly putty wasn't sticking to the glue at all, which I really liked. I just adjusted that, so let's see if it works a little better. This is a new tray from Bella Art de Nicole. It's, I need to wipe it down with a dryer sheet. It's a bit, the drills aren't sliding around super nice, and it's just because there's static in there. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, to let the nerves heal. So the first 3 to 4 weeks usually is the, you want to get healing off to a good start, basically. So you want to do absolute minimal, but because my left arm, I can't use it for much. And when I do use it, I end up in an awful pain crisis and spasms, and it actually gets weak. I develop a claw hand that kind of looks like a T-Rex hand. And I can't open it, I can't use my arm, I can't lift it. So that's what I'm most worried about, is my left arm. Before you have surgery, at least in Canada, the surgeon usually comes and talks to you, confirms, you know, what we're doing surgery on and what side, then he'll write like his signature on the right arm so that you know that that's the operating side, so they don't make mistakes. So he'll usually come and he's probably going to ask me how I'm feeling. And again, I'm going to tell him I'm more worried about the left arm. In fact, I've considered asking them to do a nerve block on the left as well, to avoid severe pain on that side. That's what I'm most worried about. I actually, up until like a month ago, I was wondering if he maybe would want to do surgery on the left first, again, because it's so bad. But if we leave my right side too long without decompressing those nerves, I could have permanent damage on the right side too. So it's kind of, we've waited already like 1.5 years or so, I think, that I've been dealing with symptoms on the right. Botox is still working, which is a good sign. That means that the surgery will probably be very helpful, but there is a fine line as to you wait too long and those nerves are now damaged versus getting those decompressed so that they can hopefully fully heal. Nerves do heal. They do take a long time. They say up to 2 years to fully heal. They grow, I think, like, I don't think it's an inch a month. I think it's less than that, but I can't quite remember the saying. Very small amount, and with the conditions I have, the nerve has been being compressed from the neck into the chest and shoulder and down the arm, so it has a long way that it needs to repair itself. So yeah. So I'm going to try and distract myself today by trying to finish this diamond painting. Once I get off here with you guys, I should start going through it more quickly now that I'm not talking. And then I've as I said, this past few days I've been kitting up diamond paintings like the world's ending. I kit up. What did I kit up? I kit up. What did I kit up? Oh yeah, 3 Gnomes Gardening is a Diamond Art Club painting. It's a small, I would consider it like a snack size painting, a round kit. And then I kit up to do after that, I kit up Happy Flowers Blue Vase, which is another Diamond Art Club kit. It's a little bit bigger. And then just in case recovery is taking even longer, I kit up a Craftably painting I have. It's the only Craftably I have left. I think it's called Two Swords. And it's a little bit bigger than Happy Flowers, but it is a round kit, and it looks like it's a lot of color blocking. So it should go fairly easy. And then just in case I feel well enough to do a square painting, I've kit up Self-Portrait by Dakota Dayweiler, which I'm actually really looking forward to do. That's the one I wanted to do next. I've ordered a whole bunch of special crystals from Oraloa and DP with Sparklers to bling that one out. And I actually sat down yesterday and kind of went through and wrote down where I'm going to put the special diamonds. So that was fun. It wasn't as overwhelming as I thought it would be. I'm glad I did that instead of the last one, Fairy Lights. If you watch that blinging up and chat or whatever I called it. Now, what symbol was I just working on? Oh, don't you hate that? Yeah. Okay. 25. That's why I can't find it. It's up here. With the Fairy Lights, I just haphazardly pulled diamonds off and swapped them out. But with Self-Portrait, I actually am charting them in and writing down where I want to swap them in so that I can do it as I go. Again, lots of static in this tray, so it's hard to get the diamonds out. Yeah, so I am going to do my best to diamond paint post-op with my left hand. I don't know how successful I'll be. I've been practicing with my left arm, which is also probably why it might be feeling so bad today. But I can single place pretty well with the left arm. Post-op wise, I'm going to do it just to distract myself from the pain and make my day go faster. It's not fun sitting on the couch not doing anything, especially when you've already watched everything on Netflix and all the other streaming platforms. So I will be diamond painting as soon as I can with my left arm, and then of course when my right arm is ready, I'll start getting back into the groove. I'm hoping my left arm doesn't cause too much of a mess on the diamond paintings I've started, but I also have those paint gem minis I kit up as well, which I actually might start on them because I don't care if my left arm place is messy. I just want something to do and keep my mind occupied, right? Anyway, I think I've been talking for a very long time. I feel like it at least. My mouth is dry and I'm tired. My dog walker is going to be coming anytime now too, so I best get the dog ready. So, wish me luck on my surgery. This WIP and Chat will go up after surgery, probably like a week later or so. I did schedule some content while I'm in the hospital. There's going to be a post review that's going up the day before surgery, and then an unboxing of this kit, and then a kit up and chat of this, and then this WIP and Chat. So lots of stuff. Of course, though, when this goes up, all those videos you probably would have seen if you've watched them. If not, check them out. They will be going up. I have 3 posts scheduled. Let me know down below as well. I asked you to leave me a comment if you've struggled with PTSD or panic disorder, anxiety, some tips that you use when you're feeling a episode come on. Let me know what you do to stop that episode. I'd really like to know, because that's the trouble I have, is stopping it. I tend to have to go through the entire thing, and then I stop when my brain just can't do it anymore. And then I'm kind of like in a state of deep sadness until the next day. So you've got tips and tricks for me, I'd really appreciate it. Also, let me know if you've worked on any diamond paintings or if you've gotten any from Munimade. I'm really loving her quality. I absolutely love her rendering style. I'll pull it up here. Look at that. There's no unnecessary confetti. There's color blocking the whole way through and moving along really nicely. The canvas is great. The glue is super sticky. These symbols don't even have a hint of blurriness. And the diamonds are just amazing quality. They're super shiny. Don't know if you can kind of see. They're super, super shiny. She has some ABs charted in here in the flower. I haven't blinged it out with anything else. I just wanted a simple painting to keep my mind busy while I'm waiting for my surgery. So let me know what Munimade paintings you're working on, if you have them, or what you hope to buy. Until next time, happy diamond painting, everyone, and see you later. Bye.